You've chosen to speak out.
And there is no good time to talk about Mr. Epstein and all things
space right now. I can understand why it's completely and utterly overwhelming.
An unexpected royal stir has set Buckingham Palace buzzing, and it all unfolded not at a gala, not at a coronation, but at a funeral. What should have been a day of solemn unity turned into the most whispered-about royal event of the year, as Prince Andrew's shocking entrance and eyebrow-raising behavior left senior royals tight-lipped and the public furious. Imagine it, a cathedral bathed in sacred light, every detail arranged for quiet remembrance. King Charles walking with measured grace, William and Catherine radiating dignified calm, the air thick with reverence. And then, the sound of screeching brakes outside. A police escort flashes through the hush. Doors open. Prince Andrew steps out. Not alone, but arm in arm with Sarah Ferguson. Gasps ripple through the waiting crowd. Reporters snap to attention. Inside, heads begin to turn before the first hymn is even sung. Was this a simple show of family solidarity? Or a carefully staged power move from a disgraced prince desperate to reclaim relevance? Witnesses say the tension was immediate. Senior royals exchanged quick, unreadable glances. Even the usually unflappable King Charles was said to tighten his jaw as Andrew strode confidently down the aisle, his faint smile and easy conversation with Sarah cutting against the solemn gravity of the day. Royal insiders are already calling it a protocol earthquake, a calculated spectacle that stole the spotlight from the very person the family had gathered to honor. Others wonder if this was less a misstep and more a quiet act of defiance, an unmistakable signal that Andrew refuses to remain in the shadows. Was this just poor timing? Or a bold attempt to rewrite a fallen prince's story, right in front of the king himself? Stay with us, because the images, the reactions, and the silent signals from inside the cathedral may reveal a royal rift far deeper than anyone imagined. And before we dive in, hit subscribe and ring that bell, because the revelations that follow could reshape the public's view of the monarchy itself. What was meant to be a solemn farewell quickly morphed into an undercurrent of tension and whispered speculation. The cathedral's grandeur, the filtered light through stained glass, the hushed organ music, was no match for the storm brewing inside the congregation. As guests took their seats, eyes darted subtly toward one figure whose very presence seemed to shift the energy in the room: Prince Andrew. Whispers spread like wildfire through royal circles. Was his behavior simply an awkward lapse, or a calculated move to draw attention to himself at a time when all eyes should have been on the departed? Each step he took, each faint smile exchanged with Sarah Ferguson, was dissected and discussed before it even reached the pews. Guests who had come for quiet reflection found themselves caught in a silent contest of optics. Their focus pulled away from honoring the deceased. For the senior royals, it was a delicate balancing act. King Charles maintained stoic composure, jaw set against visible tension. Prince William's eyes flickered briefly with restrained disapproval, while Catherine and other senior members projected poise, subtly countering the disruption. A day intended to unite and memorialize became a test of discipline, a study in restraint, and a reminder of how one individual's choices can overshadow centuries of tradition. What should have been a private act of mourning instead became a public debate over decorum, loyalty, and the fragility of royal image. The cathedral shimmered in quiet majesty, sunlight breaking through stained glass to paint the stone floor in soft colors. The organ's low hum wrapped the space in a hush of reverence. King Charles entered first, every movement deliberate, his face etched with solemn control. Behind him, Prince William and Princess Catherine glided forward, their poise reflecting the unity the day was meant to celebrate. Then, a rupture in the calm. Outside, the sharp screech of brakes and a sudden flash of police lights sliced through the stillness. Heads turned. Cameras snapped. A sleek convoy rolled to a halt, and from the lead car stepped Prince Andrew, Sarah Ferguson at his side. Not a quiet walk of humility, but a bold, almost theatrical stride. Shoulders squared, eyes forward, police escort gleaming, gasps rippled through the crowd. What should have been a discreet arrival now looked unmistakably like a public statement, a silent challenge to the very family gathering meant to keep him in the background. As Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson began their slow walk down the cathedral aisle, the air tightened like a stretched string. Mourners stood in silence, yet every head turned, eyes tracking their every move. Andrew's expression carried a flash of defiance, while Sarah's small, knowing smile flickered beneath her veil. Witnesses whispered of fleeting exchanges, a quiet remark from Andrew that made Sarah's lips curve into a soft laugh, a barely perceptible brush of their hands as they moved forward. Tiny moments, but in a monarchy where every glance is a coded message, these gestures thundered like church bells. Some guests averted their eyes. Others leaned forward, hungry for the unscripted drama. Were they signaling solidarity? Rekindling an old flame? Or simply mocking the invisible walls that had tried to exile them? In a service meant for grief, Andrew and Sarah turned silence into spectacle, speaking volumes without uttering a single word.
The moment Andrew and Sarah took their seats, every senior royal became a study in controlled tension. King Charles remained a statue of dignity, his back ramrod straight, fingers gripping the edge of his program with the faintest tremor. Observers swore they caught the subtle clench of his jaw, a king torn between personal fury and public duty. Prince William, ever the embodiment of steady leadership, kept his expression carefully neutral, yet cameras caught what protocol couldn't hide: a fleeting tightness around his eyes, a micro-frown that flickered like lightning before he forced it away. To seasoned royal watchers, it was unmistakable, a silent signal of disapproval, perhaps even anger, that Andrew would dare command such attention on a day of mourning. Across the aisle, Princess Catherine remained poised but noticeably still, her gaze fixed forward as if refusing to give the spectacle oxygen. A single shift of her posture, chin lifted, shoulders squared, spoke of quiet resolve. Then came Duchess Sophie of Edinburgh, offering the counterpoint to all the hidden discord. As the coffin began its slow departure, Sophie placed a hand gently over her heart and pressed a soft kiss toward the casket. In that simple, graceful gesture, she reminded the world of why they had gathered, a whisper of genuine tribute amid a storm of royal drama. It took less than an hour for the footage to explode across social media. Clips of Prince Andrew's arrival, his confident stride, Sarah Ferguson's knowing smile, and those whispered exchanges inside the cathedral went viral before the service had even ended. Twitter, TikTok, and royal forums lit up like wildfire, dissecting every raised eyebrow and flicker of a grin. Was this nothing more than an awkward, ill-timed misstep? Or something far more calculated? A carefully choreographed show of defiance from a prince long considered the monarchy's greatest liability. Royal analysts quickly weighed in, noting how, in a family where symbolism is currency, even the smallest gesture can carry seismic meaning. A fleeting smile becomes a question of loyalty. A shared laugh feels like a challenge to centuries of silent obedience. For some, Andrew's composure signaled an unspoken attempt to reclaim relevance. For others, it was a reminder that the House of Windsor's wounds are far from healed. What should have been a moment of quiet remembrance instead became a global conversation about power, privilege, and the fragile dance between private comfort and public duty. One smile, just one, was enough to shake the very image of royal discipline. Now it's over to you. Was Prince Andrew's seemingly relaxed demeanor simply a human slip in a tense moment, or a subtle act of defiance that rattled the very foundations of royal protocol? Every whisper, every glance, every soft laugh inside that cathedral has become a symbol, dissected by millions worldwide. We want to hear your take. Comment below. Your perspective could shape the conversation about what respect, duty, and tradition mean in the modern monarchy. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay in the loop on every royal twist, turn, and controversy. Because if a quiet funeral could ignite such global debate, just imagine what might unfold at the next royal event, where every gesture, no matter how small, is magnified under the world's watchful eyes.